When it comes to surviving the lockdown, I'm sure we all have stories to tell. Speaking of learning, unlearning, relearning, and spending longer times with our partners, I bet we could write novels on that. Welcome to Real Talk. I am Tomike Adeoye. I'm at the Flower Shop Cafe, and I'm sure you're wondering, who are my guests? Come with me to find out. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
So as a married man or a married woman, there is one question they always ask the very first time they set their eyes on you. And that question is...
How's madam?
No, kind of.
How's married life?
How is married life?
Oh,
That's
really?
the first question I'll be asking you.
No,
How is married life?
I think how's married life comes at the very beginning of marriage.
Yes.
Not,
Oh,
The first year.
yeah,
Usually,
it's
Okay,
not.
maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what
I'm
I
still a
asked you.
JJC.
Oh, okay.
Well, on this table, that's.
I mean, that's how they call Godwin.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah,
ask you. That's the first
Yeah.
question we'll be asking you. How is married life?
My response usually is.
Is it the truth
Ask
or-
me. Yes. It's
Okay,
ask
right.
me.
Never the
Ask,
truth.
no, my response is ask me in 10 years. Because
Okay.
usually, what I'm learning, everything I thought I knew.
Has changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to unlearn everything. Everything you thought you knew changes. It's almost as if between courtship and marriage, there's a switch.
Yeah.
So the moment you cross the line, the switch comes on, and then you have to start learning. It goes from possibility of ownership to actual ownership, right? So
Sure.
learning that new phase is also a process. So I usually say to people, ask me later.
Okay,
Right now,
so we'll
I'm
ask
trying
you
to figure it
later.
out. Yes.
But for yesterday, you've been married for how many years now?
It will be 6 years in August.
Interesting. But you know, I'm very sure that this lockdown changed so many things. It made you a freshman in a new scenario in your home.
Truly, it did.
So tell me, what has the experience been like?
Well, prior to the lockdown, my husband works in a business where he's always on the road. So he travels at least maybe 3-4 times in a month, internationally, within Nigeria. So we never really, in fact, 3 days after our wedding, he had to go on a trip to Scotland, and I couldn't go with him. So this has been the reality of our marriage for the past 6 years. So for the first time, this was the first time we were able to spend an extended amount of time with each other with no breaks at all. No,
No
it's
breaks.
not. I guess by saying with no breaks, it sounds like a bad thing, but it was.
No,
it was
it's not a
actually.
bad thing, no.
It was actually quite amazing because usually it would be a week or two and then he's off somewhere, but now we were able to really without the thought of he's going somewhere, and I think it was a really good experience for us.
Is it because of your line of work? Meaning that you are very experienced? Because I don't know if everybody will say the same thing you are saying right now.
Actually, believe it or not, at the beginning of the lockdown, I think most people would even agree with me. It doesn't mean because I'm a sex educator. Sex was the last thing on our minds.
Sure.
Yes.
Literally,
Anxiety.
the anxiety.
Yeah.
All I could, for weeks, it was just like, oh my God, oh
was
my
the
God,
future.
oh my God, this is the end of the world.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? Constantly cleaning, constantly
Yeah.
checking the news.
Yeah.
And so with that, the anxiety was too much. It was, I think, a few weeks into the lockdown was when I was like, okay, you know what? We have to be very, very purposeful about putting these things away.
Yeah.
Not listening to as much
Exactly.
news,
Yeah.
all the
I did that
forwards on the
Yeah.
phone and all
Yes.
that. And that was what helped us
wow.
come together. Because initially it was just like,
Are we safe?
are we safe?
Do we
Oh
need
my God.
14 days? Noble, chairman in marriage, 5 years, 5 years and counting, with 2 beautiful kids. But what was the lockdown like, with your partner, with your kids?
So, I mean, the lockdown, like yesterday said, it came in different stages. So the stage one was your wife and yourself and having to take care of the kids. So now we don't have any work at the moment to go to. So you used to know how your hustle was, but all of a sudden you can't control what the hustle is. So one of my businesses is in clothes making. So if there are no events and there are no churches, people are not going to wear clothes. That means that one will be shut down for a while.
Sure.
Then the second part was accepting the fact that I can't go out anymore. Then there was also the anxiety. And also for some of us who have people outside of Lagos. Also, how are they managing to survive in there, especially for my mom? Like, so I was thinking about, will she know how to be intentional about washing her hands and whatnot. I think we've had a lot more better intentional marriage with the lockdown in place.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But coming back to you, Godwin.
Yes.
Speaking of cohabiting with each other, and I know you are a newbie in it, so you really cannot even tell if the lockdown has made any changes or not. But do you think so?
I think one of the benefits of my marriage is before we got married, we actually talked through every single thing. Everything we felt was important, and we anticipated changes, but we also we made plans, but we're flexible about it. And I think one of the things I see when people talk about the challenges they're facing in marriage, and how frustrated they are with their wives, we're in groups and there are people having conversations, and one of the things that it tells me is that if both of you were actually, it's better when you actually liked each other and understood each other before you went into the lockdown, because what it does is what it forces you to do is pay more attention to the things that already exist. So when something comes up and we're not happy, we address it and we move on. One of the things I learned as well is we're lucky, we're blessed that we can have multiple TVs in different parts of the house. So, Noble talked about shows that his wife wants to watch. Some shows my wife watch, I will not sit and watch. I love her, but I will not watch. And I think that just identifying ways, it doesn't need to be another TV, it could be your laptop, it could be your phone, but just learning how to give each other space within the same area, but being able to spend time together is important.
Yeah, and speaking of giving each other space, you know how people just assume that when you are getting married, I think I assume the same thing too. It just feels like you have a best friend for life, that you're with each other 24/7. But sadly, that is not the reality of marriage. Like, we have things on our mind. It's not even about spending. You know how some people just say, I want to get married because I want to love, I want to be loved.
I will never be alone.
My husband is my
and just
best
cuddle
friend.
24/7. The truth is, you can be married and be alone.
When we first got married, I had this idea that, similar to what you were saying, and so I get off work earlier than my husband. So most days I will get home and I would have been home maybe an hour, 2 hours before my husband gets back. When he walks through the door, I'm ready to chat. And I'm just like, hi, how was your day? I did this, and that. And dude is like, it was good, it was fine. And I'm like, but this is the guy I was chatting with just a few minutes ago, and we were, really chummy, like, what's going on? I even spoke to him maybe when he left the office, and so what's this, like, coldness? And then it took maybe about a few months for him to tell me, I love you. When I come home, you realize that you have had a few hours to de-stress and take away the day and put it away. I haven't. So when I walk through the door and you, like, bombard me, it's just a lot. Can you give me like a few minutes, 30 minutes, an hour for me to just stress, and then we can come together? And that really, really helped our marriage. Yeah. Because it gave me this, because you just think that we're one now, so there's no such thing as personal space.
There are no boundaries,
but there are boundaries. But there are boundaries.
Yeah.
And if you're able to communicate that, in a loving way, it really helps you understand. And it wasn't like, oh, you are talking too much to me. You're talking about what you need first. Yeah. And then your partner is able to understand that these are the needs that my husband or my wife has.
Yeah.
No, but let's talk about some of the discoveries, some of the things that you discovered in your marriage during this lockdown.
So I tell a few of my friends that I didn't know my wife was like, let's circle back to that first one kind of woman. Like I haven't been in a meeting with Chama before, right? So like it was funny hearing her on Zoom calls or like all those meetings say, can we circle back? I'm like, let's circle back to that point. Kind of woman, and I read about my experience during the lockdown with my family, and the other part of her that's also willing to try my TV shows, but also know that she will fall off. So she's showing interest in the things that I show interest. She likes all the movies that they give a lot of flowers and they love.
Oh, wow.
I love a lot of guns. I love crime.
I love her. I love sweet movies. And I feel like my husband can catch his sob at times when I'm watching some things and maybe the guy does something that is just mind-blowing. Little details. I'm like, this guy is such a sweet guy. And I'm like, bro, are you listening? Like,
but I also do that where there's some movies I feel like Chama is going to give me side eye. So I don't watch it when she's
when
there.
she's there.
Yeah, when she's watching, I
Yes.
just go to another part of the house.
I
Like,
just
you
sometimes you
get-
can't avoid it. I just say that's nice.
What are some of the fun things that you've had to do together during this lockdown?
I think for me, there's been. I think it's mostly shows, not the movies like TV series. I think I've watched a lot. I know.
So much passion.
Yeah, I the one that has shocked me the most is she just suggested, and I was trying to be, a loving husband, and she said, let's watch Gossip Girl. I watched it when I was in uni, and
Did you watch it?
and I watched it. And funny enough,
Girl.
Did you enjoy it?
yeah, actually,
Great.
yeah. So I think I tweeted it the other day with a confused face because I was enjoying the show.
Yeah. So what are some of the hobbies that you do?
Well, the funny thing was, so my husband is clean shaven. Well, was clean shaven. Literally, he's bald, he has a mustache, and that's been it. And a week into the lockdown, he said, you know what? Let me try growing a beard. And I was totally against it initially because, you have this fixed mindset about something, and you're like, this is how I've known you. I
How
can't
you
imagine
should
you with
look.
a beard. And he was like, let's just try it. I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. I mean, it's a lockdown. Nobody's seen. We'll see how it goes. And he started growing the beard. And then I started making these oil mixtures because I love like essential oils and all these other things. So I started making all these growth oils for his beard. And so we'll try. I'll say, you know what? Okay, let's try this one. He'll say, okay, have you seen a patch? I'm like, okay, let's try this oil in there. And the amazing thing is his beard has actually grown, and it's actually quite nice.
Now you don't want him to cut it again, right?
I love
I need to call him. Tell him to call
that
me.
beard. I can't believe, in fact, I guess that we can say that's a discovery I made about myself because I didn't think I was a beard loving woman.
But speaking of role reversal, are there certain things that she used to do before that you now took over during the lockdown?
I used to have plants in the house. So during the lockdown, Chama used to be the one who said, oh, these plants are growing, we need to trim and whatnot. All of a sudden, during the lockdown, I've taken over the plants. So I have new plants. I have like a fence around my plants. I have paintings. I have lights for like nights and all that stuff. Like, so I'm doing this whole thing that feels like it's a midlife crisis, but it isn't. It's just like I'm doing all these things that I didn't used to do. So I go to the kitchen. I go like, babe, do you think we should change the fridge? She's like, there's nothing wrong with the fridge. Stop looking for things to do. And also just learned that Chama likes to skip. She can skip like up to 1,000 or whatever you guys call it. I don't know how to do that. I play tennis.
But did you attempt skipping this period?
No, see the thing is I tell myself that if I skip, by the time I'm at 150, I will faint, right? But I also go out and play tennis for 3 hours. And
But did you ever used to cook before the lockdown?
So I cook only when I'm in Chama's doghouse. That kind of thing. She's angry with me, then I make an effort, then she give me something for making effort and all the rest of them. If there's anything I want to reverse, I would love to teach her how to play tennis. But the thing is that because I can play very well, teaching her right now would be annoying to me.
Yes. I was going to ask her, do you have the patience?
Yeah, I don't think I had. Because even when she was learning how to drive.
I think you'd be shocked. So I play video games, and I thought, my wife doesn't play, so I had this Mortal Kombat because football is going to be too much. So I got Mortal Kombat and I said, all right, let's play together. She's like, what do you press? What do you press? What do you press? She beat me the entire time. Throughout.
Over.
So we don't play games anymore.
But wait, so are you saying that you play games only to win?
No.
I was actually going to be angry with you.
Because your game it sounded like
It's
No, let me put it
spirit.
in perspective, right? My wife beats me at everything. Right? So I'm saying to myself, this is one thing that I would have loved to be able to say, let me have for myself. She has it too.
Okay, I would advise you try football then.
Oh,
So, but my point in
wrestling.
that, my point in that is, you might be shocked that even if
never
the
can
person
tell.
doesn't even enjoy it, you'd be shocked at how well they would actually do it.
No, and I get that. Just but not trying to just for tennis, right? I don't want to say I'm playing at the high stake, but I'm at that level where I'm playing with the people who coach people and not the rest of them. So for me to be now telling Choma to say, don't let the ball drop, make sure it goes over the net.
Not everybody who has who's great at something can teach.
So do you think the quarrels, the arguments increased during the lockdown or not?
I think they have the tendency to, but I also
For
think
you personally?
Just yesterday, we were watching a show. Like, we agree, this Gossip Girl thing is me and you. I can't do it alone. Okay? And we were watching it, and she was playing a video from Instagram. So I just said, look, okay, you know what? I just said, you know what? I'm gonna go in and work. I'm gonna do something else. But you see, the thing is, we don't sleep angry. It's something we've been doing since we were dating. So what we do normally is, no matter how pissed off I am, if we don't forget it, like it's such a you're playing with your phone while we're watching. It's not a conversation after. It's not a thing we should discuss after. I've moved on. But if it's something that we know we have to address, we address immediately.
Initially, when we got married, I used to do we don't go to bed angry.
Yeah.
It sounds perfect.
I was gonna say like
it
that's so
sounds
sweet
like
too.
a fantastic thing, but the truth of the matter is that there are some things that will happen, and you sometimes need days to process before you come together. So the anger might not be as hot,
Yes.
but you're not done.
to
Like we
address
have
it,
not cleared. Sometimes we'll sit. Back in the day, I would wake my husband up at 2 a.m. and say, I know it's the word. I'll say, guy, this thing, I can't sleep. We must iron it now. And then he's like, but I just want to sleep. But then you realize that you're actually punishing the person.
Yes.
Because if they just had...
Unfair,
I understand. I know, because if they just because if they just have a good night's sleep, sometimes you just need the benefit of a good night's sleep and that perspective, and then you come back to it. Well, the main thing is agreeing that this thing, we are not sweeping it under the table. We're coming back to it, but we are going back to our corners for now. So as opposed to maybe an argument that could last like 4 or 5 days, or maybe even a week, these arguments will last like 2 days or 3 because you're like, we have to even this house. We have nowhere to go. Yeah. You can't go out. So there's no distraction. Yes. So I think that was the good thing about the lockdown for us.
No, I kind of think for me it's a bit different. So, like I mentioned that to say that I think I've had more amazing marriage during the lockdown. That it doesn't mean that I didn't have an amazing one before the lockdown. But the thing is, like we're not having fights as much. You get what I'm trying to say to you? Like, so I kind of feel like we just figured a couple of things out where this is what this person likes, and this is what the person doesn't like. So also find like the middle ground.
Is it also as a result of the number of years you've been married for?
No, the number of years, while I was laughing when Godwin was talking about we don't go to sleep, I'm a fighter. Because listen, like when you say about your husband, like listen, even when I'm not feeling sleepy, I'll pretend like I'm sleeping so they can feel bad that I'm even sleeping when the fight is going on. Because see, my own fight is, I fight, like, open the door loudly so you can know that I'm sleeping. I play the music.
Wow.
The guy I'm trying to say to you, like, I do all those things, like, that kind of things. I watch my movies loud so they can say turn down the volume, then I will ignore you but still turn it down so that you know that I heard you. But I'm, like, so I do all those things. But the thing is, like, also when we're listening about movie, and it wasn't even long, just last night, Chima said she wanted to watch Charlie's Angels. She put it on, then maybe 6 minutes into the movie, she was on her phone. And I was like, babes, hi, did you see what just happened? She's like, oh, I think I've lost interest. I'm like, you took me from what I was doing to say we should see this movie together, and now you've lost interest.
I'm not saying I've never slept angry, but what I mean is, it doesn't pay me personally. I'm a peace-loving person. Even if there are things that need to be addressed, I've done something in my young marriage that my wife did not find funny at all, and we took a number of days to address it. Because as a young man, I spend my money how I want. That's how I was growing up. There's an issue, I sort it out. Getting married, I had to adjust to that, having those conversations, and I did one of those things before. During the marriage, and she didn't find it funny, and that took us a few days, actually more than a week, to actually address. So yes, you do go to bed with some things that have been said that hurt your feelings, but it's growing into that process, but agreeing to have those conversations.
I think that's important. The key.
Yeah.
And I think just prioritizing your marriage, your relationship over everything else. Yes. And just, that what you're talking about, like, even when you're arguing, even when you're the person is your friend.
Yeah.
This is my, like, it's constantly at the back of my mind that this is my person.
Yeah.
So nothing, it doesn't matter how big it is, nothing is going to come against that. And I think the lockdown or the pandemic just crystallized that for me. I don't know if you would say the same, that like, I know, it's not like I didn't know before. We're married 6 years, but now I know without a shadow of doubt that my husband, Olumide, is my husband. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it was good.
Okay, well, I was going to speak on sex intimacy, being with someone 24/7, knowing that the country is under lock and key and we are not going anywhere, did that help create a better bond or not?
So the thing is, I feel like when people talk about sex, I feel like there's just a lot
Overrated.
of. I don't think it is. I don't think it is overrated. I think it is important, but I also think that it's a thing that will continue to happen until it stops, right?
Yeah.
And recognizing that helps you sort of adjust to whenever. Because when I thought that when I get married, okay, so I'm marrying, sex is whenever I need.
All day.
Look, you humble yourself as a man. You know what I mean? And you get to a point where you either sometimes decide as a man that I'm not going to beg for it. And there are times when you're going to be like, look, see, how far, right? And I think those are things that will happen anyway.
Yes.
The conversation around intimacy, for most people, unfortunately, doesn't even revolve around the sex, because the sex is going to happen.
Yes.
It revolves around the fact that both of you are now in a space where you're comfortable enough to have certain conversations, where something she says that would normally upset you as a single guy is now stuff that makes you reflect and think about how it's affecting her.
I love how you said that, because I always say that intimacy is number one. Sex is an expression of intimacy. It's a physical expression of intimacy. So you need that emotional intimacy first. You need to be friends. You need to be, be comfortable being around each other. All the little things that develop that intimacy. When you stay and you kind of savor that, the time you spend together, the sex will come as a result of that. But that baseline kind of has to be established first. And I think what the lockdown did was it put everybody in a crucible, and it made you have to develop that intimacy, because you couldn't just wake up. It wasn't like you went to work, came back, and wanted to have sex. You were there all through. So it's like you now come out and say, oh, uncle, what's going on? What's going on? Chill now. But when that intimacy has been, has been carried out throughout the day, when sex comes on the table, it doesn't feel like it was just thrown from nowhere.
Yeah.
It's just like a natural progression of how you've been dealing with each other through the day.
I mean, even for some of us, it was a bit different at the beginning, because the thing is, like, when the pandemic, lockdown, whatever happened, we have to move the kids from their room to our room to start with, because you don't understand what is happening. Like, a lot of things have changed, but you also need the kids to be with you. So the sex of the girls being in the room, this is camera, but the being in the room was better, because it have to happen when the girls are not in the room. So it has to be in the afternoon or anything, or maybe.
Wait, are they taking
the
a
girls,
nap?
exactly, maybe like, he said, baby, I'm coming. Can I come and have my bath? He said, yes. Are you done? Yes. They not get there, like, oh, okay. Just maybe before I have this bath, maybe it's important.
We're gonna make it more exciting.
That's what I'm saying. So because that's what I'm saying. So the girls being in the mix and the girls always being around and whatnot, it's helped. So,
you get very creative.
Yeah. So the creativity was the fun.
So you see, as the world gradually returns to this new norm, and definitely things are changing in our lives, in our relationships, what are some of the things that you would put in place to ensure that you have a healthy relationship? Because it's key to being happy as a person, not even as a married man or as a married woman. If your relationship is not healthy, it will affect you.
I mean, for me, I would say is one thing, and this is something I've mentioned in my talk here, being intentional. And that's what a lot of people don't do. You have to be intentional about what you want. You have to be intentional about the kind of lifestyle you want. You have to be intentional about the kind of family that you want. And I like peace, just like Godwin Tom said, right? But you have to also be intentional to make sure that the peace lives in your home.
Yeah.
So the pandemic have taught you that whenever anything happens, that the place to go is home.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to make sure that the peace lives in your home. I have to be intentional about that.
Godwin.
Well, I think that one of the most important things that sort of crossed my mind during this period was that I was sitting one day looking at my wife, and I thought to myself, because I've always wanted to be a great dad. That has been my number one goal. Not work, my goal has been to be. I just stopped for a minute and said, I'm gonna have my kids for 20, 25 years, depending on when I decide to kick them out, right? And and when they go, this woman is going to be here.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that was the moment my perspective changed from trying to be a great dad to trying to be a great husband. And I think just understanding that forces you to be intentional about the things you do. And that has probably that has become the most important thing for me that guides all my actions and what I do. I protect my wife from my family, I protect my wife from my work, I protect my wife from myself. And to do that, you have to be deliberate in your actions.
That's really sweet. Love that. I think for me is continuing to make my relationship a safe space. My relationship, my home, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally, it's the safest place. Making it the safest place for me and making it the safest place for him. Because what the lockdown showed us was we had quite a number of friends who were constantly complaining that, the first few weeks they could not deal with being around their spouses. And it was because their marriages were not safe spaces. And so they could never really be themselves, And the lockdown forced people to, you have to just drop whatever, whatever, you just have to drop it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just making sure that my marriage, my relationship is a safe space, so that we never have to feel like we have to go run outside of it. It's a place you run to, not from.
Yeah.
Yes, for me, I would say it's also about being intentional. I try to intentionally overlook so many things. So I think it has helped. In a way, the lockdown has helped create a bond, a better bond, and all of that. But thank you for coming. I had a great time. I enjoyed the conversation.
I actually came for the small chops. But,
You came for the small chops.
yeah.
We got cookies.
So I can pack them.
You can pack it home.
Take it to go.
Interesting. It was amazing having you guys on the show. Thank you for coming. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Feel free to join the conversation in the comment section below. Let us know things you've learned, unlearned, or relearned about your partner. And do follow us on all our social media platforms. I'll see you next time on Real Talk.